Hi, I'm Kirk Duncan for Amiga Video Magazine, and you'll have to excuse the mess we have here today. We just got back from the AMI Expo, and we have miles of videotape that we have to go through here in our editing room. We have interviews with users, developers, and industry watchers. We have announcements of hardware that's being developed. We have demonstrations of new software. We have Jay Miner, the father of the Amiga, and we also ran into Jim Hudson, a prize-winning engineer at Rockwell. He uses the Amiga to develop missiles. And we also have, well, we have this. Pretty interesting story. We should put that on first. But first, let's go out to the studio where Jean Marie is waiting to give us all the latest stories in the Amiga community for Amiga News.
Hello, everybody, and welcome once again to Amiga News. Our first story. There is finally an organization through which Amiganites can express their needs and opinions to Commodore. On March 15th, just before the AMI Expo opened in Washington, D.C., the Amiga Developers Association elected its officers and officially began its function as an organization supporting the Amiga industry. While the organization consists of developers of hardware and software and associate developers in users groups and the media industry, all Amiganites will be able to contact them at 800-328-0184. The elected officers of the ADA are Chairman Michael Halverson, President of Impulse Incorporated; First Vice Chairman Andrea Geiger, National Sales Manager for Telmac; Second Vice Chairman Melissa Jordan Gray, President of Blue Ribbon Bakery; Treasurer Bruce Benish, Marketing Director for Applied Engineering; and Secretary Rick Rodriguez, President of VRS Media. New Tech is back in the news with yet another unveiling of the video toaster. The new version of the toaster will be demonstrated at NAB in Atlanta. Part of the demonstration includes a video by the Comedy Magic team Penn and Teller, showing us how to use the toaster to make bad music videos. Sources who have seen the video say it's very funny and the bad music video is bad. Other soon-to-be-released products are a new accelerator board from Great Valley Products. The 68030 board runs at 40 megahertz. From Free Spirit Software, who have just come out with the arcade game Dragonscape, an announcement that Dr. Ami will be released soon. Dr. Ami is a memory diagnostic program which includes the ability to pinpoint problems in memory through the use of a graphic display. When will the Amiga 3000 be released? We at AVM have heard it will be out in September, or July, or even as early as May. Sources say the 3000 is ready, but that the 1.4 operating system still has some bugs to be worked out. The computer is known to be very fast, but there is a question of software compatibility. In light of this question, Commodore President Copperman has said that he will listen to suggestions from developers concerning the 1.4 system. We at AVM would like to announce that Dean Friedman has joined Amiga Video Magazine as associate producer. You may know Dean as the inventor of Eat a Bug, also as a singer and writer of music, and you may have read his numerous columns in music and Amiga magazines. We at AVM are looking forward to working with Dean. That's all the news for now, and we'll have a lot more for you next time, including the latest on the Amiga 3000.
This is Amiga World, the original and foremost Amiga magazine. But did you also know that this is Amiga World? Or this? Or this? That's right. Amiga World is not just a magazine. It's a special collection of Amiga resources, including an astounding 48-minute animation video for only $19.95. It's the Tool Chest, our exclusive bi-monthly software series written only for Amiga World, just $14.95 per issue. And it's special issues like this one on video and animation, Learn How the Pros Do It, only $4.95. Or enhance your creativity with our special issue discs, including an unreleased Cara color font, just $14.95. If you don't subscribe to Amiga World, do it now. For $24.97, you'll get 12 great issues and save almost 50% off the cover price. To order any Amiga World product with our 30-day money-back guarantee, call 1-800-343-0728 or write Amiga World, 80 Elm Street, Peterborough, New Hampshire, 03458. That's 1-800-343-0728. Mention Amiga Video Magazine for a free gift with any purchase.
World of Amiga, coming to New York City in April, starring The Amazing Amiga.
featuring the latest Amiga hardware, Amiga software, and Amiga accessories. There will be seminars, stage presentations, and clinics, and take advantage of all the bargains. Friday and Saturday, April 27th and 28th, be at Pier 92 in New York City from 10 a.m. to 5 p.m. Pre-register by April 12th and pay only $10 for both days. For more information, call 416-595-5906. We're at the Sheraton Washington Hotel in Washington, D.C., home of the 1990 AMI Expo. Here we saw some familiar faces, we met a lot of new faces, and we also saw the birth of a new organization, the ADA, the Amiga Developers Association.
We think maybe the most important issue about the Developers Association is the fact that it is a formal organization where people can get involved with what's going on in the Amiga community. Up till now, there have been loose confederations of good ideas, but they've never been implemented. With Amiga World's help and other magazines' help, we've been able to garner a real set of support. And the most important issue is communications with Commodore. And that really is the key issue. As far as short-term goals, we want to make sure that every Amiga user and every developer has a road to communicate with Commodore. And then we want to help market our products better, because many people look down their nose at what we're doing as developers, and they compare us to other computer manufacturers and other vendors who they say do a better job when indeed they really don't. The Amiga has become a second-class citizen for no reason other than the fact that somebody wanted to make it that way. The Amiga people don't consider it a second-class citizen. So we want to raise its capabilities, and we want to raise its visibility in the marketplace. So those are our two short-term goals. Long-term is difficult to discuss because we're brand new. But I could say that long-term, is to make sure that Commodore stays on track, make sure that we as vendors stay on track, and make sure that the community at large, people who use this computer and Commodore computers, are informed of what's really and truly going on, to help set some standards so that things look and feel the same, and to keep that communications open.
You say that excuse me, one of the main purposes is to open that line of communication between the developers and Commodore. I understand that the current president, Harry Copperman, was at the meeting, and could you get any sense of how receptive he was to the existence of the association, and do you anticipate being able to communicate on a regular basis successfully with Commodore?
Well, he was very candid. He, I think, is very sensitive to people that have been very negative to Commodore, and I think he was very concerned that the ADA would become a negative organization that wanted to call Commodore up and bash them about problems. That's not our intention. If there's a problem, we don't want to just tell them it's a problem. We'll tell them how to fix the problem. If they don't want to fix the problem, I think the Developers Association can go around and fix that problem without Commodore's help. But he was very open-minded, and he was there, and that's a key issue. I've been at many meetings where other potential presidents of Commodore, they weren't there. They were someplace else. He was there. His support people from CATS were there, and they were very receptive, very open, and they were extremely interested in what we were doing.
What kind of plans have developed out of the association's meeting last night or yesterday?
Well, that's up to the executive board who are running the thing now to come up with, but I do know that they're going to be developing position papers on Amiga technology to give to the press who don't understand what the Amiga is all about and have been sort of hornswoggled by the Apple and IBM PR machines. That's going to be a key factor. They're going to be a lot more visible and active in contacting the press and getting the word out about the Amiga. And they've already made contact with Commodore. Harry Copperman, the president, was at our meeting and spoke for about a half an hour and then entertained questions for about 45 minutes. So he's very interested in the input that this group is going to give him.
How can Amiga users get in touch with the people who are in the association to find out what's actually going on?
Well, one of the point men is Mike Halverson at Impulse. He's now the chairman of the association. In fact, it was his idea to form this association. He called me up one day and said, "Doug, you ought to form an Amiga Developers Association." I said, "That's a great idea. Okay, we'll do it." And he happened to become chairman. So he's a good point person. If you want to contact somebody at Amiga World, we have a marketing person named Wendy Haynes Marrow, who you can reach at our main number, 603-924-9471. She'd be happy to answer all of your questions, and we're looking for as many people to be involved as possible.
Well, my feelings about the Developer Association are kind of mixed. When I was originally contacted about it, they said that they were interested in basically achieving two things. Possibly doing some marketing on their own as an entity apart from Commodore, pushing the Amiga, and secondly, providing a channel for developer communications to Commodore that wasn't slave to Commodore's own development organization and the pressures that they could bring to bear.
And has it turned out to be that way?
Well, the first meeting was an organizational meeting. My original notice that I sent back into them when they asked about the structure, I said, you really don't need a structure, you need electronic communications, and you just need to meet your goals. The original meeting was almost entirely a bureaucratic mess. There was probably, of the number of hours we met, 80% of that time was spent seconding and eyeing and so forth, and I think we accomplished two things. And one of them was to accept the original charter as proposed by Amiga World, which most of the fellows had not read because it was just dropped on the table at that time, which strikes me as a little absurd. My mama done told me, never sign nothing until you read it. Okay? And the second thing is that we tried to address the issue of whether non-developers could be members of the board and failed utterly in doing that. And I think that if anything was learned from the initial meeting, it was that we're not going to get much done as a bureaucratic entity. And the hope was that the board, the executive board, would take the load of the bureaucratic structure off of the rest of the developer group. I don't know that that will happen, but
you don't think it will streamline itself in the next few meetings?
Well, I certainly hope that it will,
yeah.
But see, meetings such as that one are very rare. The opportunity for everybody to physically meet together and discuss these things, that's not common. You have electronic communications, which offers some reasonably fast feedback. You have the mail, which is horrible. And you have fax, which about a quarter of the people at that meeting had fax capacity at their companies. So, you know, my problem is that things get done when people communicate. And away from those meetings, communication capability falls off. And so my feeling is that streamlining is going to happen slowly, if at all. And one of the problems with the Amiga market is that it is timely now. Anybody who thinks that there isn't good, high-quality technology coming out that is going to threaten the Amiga market is making a grave mistake. The technology is there. What is not there is an integrated operating system from the other manufacturers that utilizes that technology in a streamlined way, the way the Amiga's technology is used by its operating system. That's our only lead. If somebody comes out with a fully functional operating system that uses, for instance, the EGA boards, you know, requires them and expects them to be there and has that 256 color registered mode, you know, as colors, and everybody knows it's there, we're in trouble already. Okay, we need to deal with the market segment now while the Amiga is a superior product. It will not remain so unless more engineering is done. And what I know currently is not going to address the market that way.
Tell us a little bit about that first meeting. I imagine it must have started out zoo-like, but it sounds like you accomplished a lot in a single day.
Well, I think there are varying opinions about that, and I think that's part of what the ADA has to deal with, is the varying opinions about what went on in that meeting. I've heard people say that not much occurred, that they heard the usual stuff from Harry Copperman, the current president of Commodore, and Jeff Sherb, his evangelizer, and his assigned connection to the developer community. I thought that well, first of all, Copperman was there, spoke for a substantial amount of time, and then later took questions for an even greater length of time. I'd say he spent probably an hour and a half being grilled or giving his views of how Commodore has changed its direction and focused its energies in certain areas. And I think most exciting for me, and I think for a lot of us in the Amiga community, he focused a lot of his attention and indicated that Commodore is putting a lot of its eggs in the basket of this emerging multimedia market. And of course, he's he indicated that there was a serious deficiency in the area of the communications with Commodore, even as on the simple level of answering the phone. If you call long distance from wherever you are with a problem related to your Amiga, and you try and call Commodore with a long distance tow call, in the past, and I'm sorry to say that even currently, you get put on hold for an indefinite period of time, and you may not even get off of being in hold. He addressed that directly, said that they are hiring more people, that they have established a queuing system so that they can handle these calls. I guess I'm being a little bit verbose about this, but the bottom line is, I think that he indicated very clearly that they are aware of the concerns that have been expressed in all areas of the Amiga environment for a long time, and the fact that he was there, and the fact that he had his lieutenant, who was specifically hired to deal with these issues, there, and he then remained for the rest of the election and nomination procedures, and then also for a good portion of the developers meeting itself. The fact that they were there and ready and willing to initiate this dialogue was the single most important part of the whole thing.
Well, it sounds like
We at AVM have found out that Microsoft has announced the development of a soon-to-be-released multitasking desktop video system. Never been done before, according to them. Any Amiganite knows this simply is not true, and in fact, there are other computer companies that are moving into the field and taking the credit for having the vision for which the Amiga was created. Now, we think that an effective Amiga Developers Association working with the users and with Commodore will not only improve the industry, but will help get the Amiga recognized by everyone as the important machine that it is.
This is Amiga World, the original and foremost Amiga magazine. But did you also know that this is Amiga World? Or this? Or this? That's right. Amiga World is not just a magazine. It's a special collection of Amiga resources, including an astounding 48-minute animation video for only $19.95. It's the Tool Chest, our exclusive bi-monthly software series written only for Amiga World, just $14.95 per issue. And it's special issues like this one on video and animation, Learn How the Pros Do It, only $4.95. Or enhance your creativity with our special issue discs, including an unreleased color font, just $14.95. If you don't subscribe to Amiga World, do it now. For $24.97, you'll get 12 great issues and save almost 50% off the cover price. To order any Amiga World product with our 30-day money-back guarantee, call 1-800-343-0728 or write Amiga World, 80 Elm Street, Peterborough, New Hampshire, 03458. That's 1-800-343-0728. Mention Amiga Video Magazine for a free gift with any purchase.
World of Amiga, coming to New York City in April, starring The Amazing Amiga, featuring the latest Amiga hardware, Amiga software, and Amiga accessories. There will be seminars, stage presentations, and clinics, and take advantage of all the bargains. Friday and Saturday, April 27th and 28th, be at Pier 92 in New York City from 10 a.m. to 5 p.m. Pre-register by April 12th and pay only $10 for both days. For more information, call 416-595-5906. The AMI Expo in Washington, D.C. was not as big as the one last year in New York, and it wasn't as small as the one in Chicago. And if you want to compare it to the one in San Francisco, well, there weren't any earthquakes, but there were some ground-shaking developments. Digital Creations had an exciting booth, and everybody was talking about DC TV. Amiga Vision by Commodore was creating quite a stir. Expert Services was there with their 1000 Rejuvenator, and both Cryogenic Software and Gold Disk were there to introduce new programs that were in development. And of course, GVP was there with its new products. there was a lot of talk about the 3000 and the new operating system. There were keynote speakers, there were animations everywhere. In fact, if you have an Amiga, you should have been in Washington, D.C. that weekend in March.
All right, this is the Amiga 1000 Rejuvenator card. Basically, you replace your old right control store port, which contained your Kickstart RAM, and you replace it with a slightly larger card that plugs into the Agnes Paul and Denise sockets, and it gives you the new custom chipset, including the ability to use the ACS Denise, 1 mega chip RAM, with future expansion to 2 meg if Commodore should ever start supplying the chips commercially. Fully compatible. You can flip back and forth between Kickstart or the ROM that's on here at will. It will support the 256, the 512K ROM when it's available.
There's a video slot also?
Yes, it has a real-time clock and a Flicker Fixer compatible video slot. There's also some holes for you to adapt other cards to it, such as Genlocks and the like.
And most of the programs are compatible with what you have here?
Oh yeah, it works real well.
And what's the cost?
It's $499.95.
We're with Bill Canar at the Hologramophone booth, and he's going to tell us all about Pick Sound. Let's hear about it, Bill.
Okay, so this is Pick Sound, and the main idea behind Pick Sound is that as you move a pointer across the screen, the Pick Sound will play whatever color you're on top of. So here I'm over gray colors here, and it plays a musical scale. As I go over other colors, it plays chords. I can change the speed so it plays more notes and slow it back down. I can cycle the colors so they play on their own. Or have Pick Sound play itself. I have control over what scale I'm playing in. And what key in that scale. I also have control over what sound is being played. Any graphic file that I create in a graphics program can be loaded up and played in Pick Sound. This is a Michelangelo. As the colors get darker, the pitches get lower. As the colors get brighter, the sound gets higher.
What kind of people would be interested in this kind of product?
Well, I see this for the education market. The ability to see what scale you're playing in and hear the differences between the scales is very instructive for children. And I see it for the hobbyists, sitting home and just exploring their graphics in a new way.
How much is this product?
This product goes for $99.
And it's available on the market right now?
Yes, it is.
Okay. We're speaking with Dave Cohen, and he's going to tell us what he thinks about the AMI Expo this time around.
Well, first of all, I'm very glad that it's here in Washington, D.C. I've been waiting a long time for it to come.
You're a resident here?
Yes, I am, and this is the first event I've really been to, and I'm impressed. I thought it would be on a little less grand scale, and I think it's very flush. You know, there's a lot of exhibitors, there's a lot of product here, a lot of software, there are dealers here, and it gives me a chance to see a lot of things that I have not been able to see except in magazines. So I'm very pleased.
Are you an Amiga owner?
Oh yeah, sure.
What do you own?
I own a 2000. I'm in the video business, so I use it mostly for video work, for titling, graphics, animation. And for me, it's very hard. There are only a couple of dealers here, and they don't have a great selection of all the various products, hardware and software. But to come to a show like this, I'm just thrilled that I get to see everything.
We're speaking with
Dennis Selby.
And you've been at the expo for how long today?
Since it opened.
Since it opened. And you've got quite a bit of information there. What do you think of the expo this time around?
This is my first, and I'm getting a chance to see some first hands-on experience with some of the stuff I've been reading about in Amiga Expo, believe it or not, and all the video magazines pertaining to it.
Are you a Washington resident?
No, I came in from Greensboro, North Carolina.
Wow, quite a trip. Was it worth it?
Most definitely, no question.
Do you own an Amiga?
Yes.
What kind?
The 500.
Michael, what kind of an Amiga do you own? And what do you do with it? If you had any advice for Commodore at this moment, what would you say to them? I hope you're listening. The AVM Art Gallery would like to congratulate Walter Bataki of Hudson, New York for winning first prize at the AMI Expo with this animation done on an Amiga. An animation with a story. Now, I'd like to see more of that. We'd like to thank Steve Jacobs for putting us in touch with Walter. We're speaking with Amiga user Jim Hudson right here, and he works at
Rockwell International in Atlanta, Georgia.
And he's found a unique way to introduce the Amiga where he works. How did you go about doing that?
Well, my company buys only MS-DOS machines. They won't even allow a Macintosh in the building. And the way I got my first machine in was with Amiga 500 for hardware development for missile design, was to put out a purchase order calling it a multitasking microcontroller. And it made it all the way through purchasing, and then finally when they did make the purchase, they found out it was a computer, and they let it go through, but they told me that under duress that I was not allowed to use it ever as a word processor or as a spreadsheet. Well, we did our first year of hardware development. It was a small, about $150,000 project, and had little value to the company, but our competitor came out with a much superior product. So we had to accelerate, and suddenly my particular area was quite important, and it went up to over $1 million. And in the second year, I had in our R&D, I had a write-up saying Amigas would be used, so it was built into the program. And since it was all my conception, it all went that way. And I got 3 programmers who had been doing Ada and been working on the MS-DOS machines, now working on the Amiga. Within 2 weeks, one of those bought an Amiga. And also I got 3 people to do hardware design. We designed our own Zorro boards to go into Zorro slots. We needed more space, so we took the IBM AT slots, and we basically redefined those to be our own proprietary bus. So we crammed all this electronics into the Amiga. A lot of this material is proprietary and classified. I can only talk generally about it. But basically we ripped out what was in the production Hellfire missile and replaced it with a digitizer, and then we transferred all the data to our Amiga, and then we did all the smart processing to demonstrate what we can do in the next decade. We took out this system to White Sands missile range in a very brief time, from about March until December. And there was a lot of skepticism among the powers that be that this system would work. It worked very well, and I can't tell you what we did or anything of that sort. It's a precision munition. Its main target is only tanks. The idea is to only hit a tank and nothing else. So I don't know what your feelings are about weapon systems, but at least it's a specific weapon system. It's fired from helicopters. We built our own systems. We were digitizing more than 40 mega samples a second at 10 bits data. I mean, we developed a lot of different hardware just for the Amiga to do these functions. And but I think they could carry over in a commercial area, but I don't think that right now there's any mechanism in place to do that.
Now, these next 2 products are going to be head-to-head in competition very soon. Digital Creations had an exciting booth at the expo, and everybody was talking about DCTV. And Black Belt Systems, well, their product was undergoing FCC testing and could not be displayed. But Ben Williams, the Vice President of Engineering, told us all about it.
Well, the first product we're going to show you is DCTV. It's a new product coming out this June or so. It's what it is it's a full bandwidth, full resolution NTSC frame buffer and digitizer option for the Amiga computer. The unique feature of it is that it doesn't have any of its own memory. It uses the Amiga for the display device. It attaches to the RGB port and the parallel port of any Amiga computer and allows you to do full bandwidth NTSC video digitizing and display. And right now this is a live image of a tiger, and we can digitize it. Okay, right now we're scanning the screen, scanning the image. Then we process the image, which gets rid of some of the color artifacts in the image, and produces essentially a full resolution NTSC video signal.
What is the difference, excuse me, what's the difference between NTSC and RGB?
Okay, NTSC unfortunately is a lower resolution system than RGB. However, it's been tuned to give you the most color for the least amount of bandwidth. It was designed originally for broadcast television to give you the best picture in a limited bandwidth. And because of all of these fancy features that are in NTSC for giving you that bandwidth, you get a much better picture for a lot lower cost in terms of memory and bandwidth.
How much color is in here?
Essentially as much color as is in television, effectively around 4 to 8 million colors. To the human eye, however, those colors are tuned to the right bandwidth to give you all the effects of a 24 million color picture, because the color bandwidth has been tuned to the way humans see television. NTSC has been tuned that way. So it gives you an image that's effectively, subjectively as good as a 24-bit image.
And what kind of people would be purchasing this?
Okay, anybody interested in doing video still store, doing desktop publishing, it can back create 24-bit plane RGB images. It's also capable of even animating in this resolution. We can run anim programs and create full resolution anims. You can use products such as Sculpt and Silver, the biggest 3D ray tracing programs on the Amiga, and create animations in RGB, convert them to DC TV, and have full RGB, effectively NTSC animations running on your Amiga with much higher bandwidth and much higher effective resolution than ham or high res or any of the other standard Amiga displays.
Okay. We're with Ben Williams, and you've developed a new product. What is this?
It's called the Ham-E currently. We'd like to get a more marketable name for it, but so far nothing's come up. What it is a device that plugs into the RGB port of any Amiga computer, including the PAL units, provides 2 new Amiga graphics modes. The new modes are 256 colors out of a palette of 16 million, or 256,000 simultaneous colors. There's also a palette involved there. It's similar to the ham mode, except in normal ham mode you have 16 color registers available for fix-ups of sharp color changes. In our new mode, there are 236 color registers available for sharp edge fix-ups, and they are 24-bit, which means they are accurate to 16 million colors. One thing that you can do in this kind of situation, if you have a model, you can do the model's eyes using 136 24-bit accurate color registers, which gives you a beautiful picture, kind of thing you would see on one of the Mac 2 24-bit systems. Then you still have ham capability that you can run the entire rest of the picture in using the remaining 100 color registers for quick fix-ups. The entire rest of the picture is 18 bits accurate, which is 256,000 colors. So this is in addition. There's 2 separate modes now, and this is in addition to the Amiga's normal modes. It appears on your normal monitor, and these screens pull up and down just like curtains, like the normal Amiga screens. They go front to back. They can have other screens overlaid on them. In short, they're completely compatible. Current show utilities such as SuperView in the public domain or Discmaster, which is a commercial product, anything that can show IFF pictures pretty much will show these successfully. It's a completely compatible pair of new modes. Installation, plug it into the RGB port, plug it into the wall, and you're done. That's essentially what the product is. We expect it'll retail right around the $300 range. That depends on what parts cost us at the time that the thing is released, but we think that's a good guess.
Do you have any idea when it will be released?
Yeah, we're shooting it June 1st right now. We're done with most of the engineering and that kind of stuff. We've been through FCC testing. Unless there is a paperwork problem, we expect to have our approval within a short period of time. If that's so, it'll take us about 4 weeks to get the manufacturing rolling. We have 250 orders from developers, and this being a new display mode, even with the display compatibility, the one thing that we do need is paint program support. And we're looking to some of the bigger Amiga companies to provide that.
We'll be back right after this.
What I would like most for people to know is that in spite of the many arguments and differences we had along the way, and in spite of all those early compromises, both between the President, Dave Morris, and myself as the Vice President, and between us and Commodore also, I believe that Dave Morris and I have both finally achieved our goals. The Amiga now has become both the best game machine and the best computer available in its price range. Some claim at any price, but I think they exaggerate a little bit.
This is Amiga World, the original and foremost Amiga magazine. But did you also know that this is Amiga World? Or this? Or this? That's right. Amiga World is not just a magazine. It's a special collection of Amiga resources, including an astounding 48-minute animation video for only $19.95. It's the Tool Chest, our exclusive bi-monthly software series written only for Amiga World, just $14.95 per issue. And it's special issues like this one on video and animation, Learn How the Pros Do It, only $4.95. Or enhance your creativity with our special issue discs, including an unreleased Cara color font, just $14.95. If you don't subscribe to Amiga World, do it now. For $24.97, you'll get 12 great issues and save almost 50% off the cover price. To order any Amiga World product with our 30-day money-back guarantee, call 1-800-343-0728 or write Amiga World, 80 Elm Street, Peterborough, New Hampshire, 03458. That's 1-800-343-0728. Mention Amiga Video Magazine for a free gift with any purchase.
World of Amiga, coming to New York City in April, starring The Amazing Amiga, featuring the latest Amiga hardware, Amiga software, and Amiga accessories. There will be seminars, stage presentations, and clinics, and take advantage of all the bargains. Friday and Saturday, April 27th and 28th, be at Pier 92 in New York City from 10 a.m. to 5 p.m. Pre-register by April 12th and pay only $10 for both days. For more information, call 416-595-5906. Let's go to Mark Randall at New Tech with some new information about the ever-elusive toaster.
Well, the video toaster is very close now to shipping, which we are at long last very glad to say. And in a very short period of time, we'll be having initial units coming out, and then 30 days after that, large quantities of toasters will be shipping. We're going to make official announcements at the National Association of Broadcasters show, which is the largest broadcast video show in the country, and that is at the beginning of April. And we will be showing hands-on there the toaster software, how it works, how the interface is conceived, and how the software is designed so that people can see how simple it is to operate. We have never shown before to the public anything about the interface or the integration of the software. So we're really excited to make these announcements and show everything the toaster can do, which basically consists of, in the shipping software, will be the digital video effects generator, the 4-input production switcher so you can fade between cameras or do digital effects between cameras, dual frame buffers that will load in about 1.5 seconds from hard drive, and you can be displaying one while you're loading another. So you can do multimedia presentations just by clicking on a mouse. You can have still NTSC video frames loading up and doing DVE or switcher transitions between them. Then we have a frame grabber, so you can grab any frame, and then you could save that to the hard drive to pull back later, or you can convert it to Amiga resolutions and use it in any Amiga software. And it also comes with a character generator, which has a lot of high-end features like transparent shadows, anti-aliases to a 35 nanosecond pixel, and it uses 16.8 million colors. And we have smooth crawl and scrolling features in that. And last but not least, Amiga Genlock is included. And this all fits onto one card that drops into the video slot of an Amiga 2000.
And I understand there are a couple of options that can go along with this package.
Later in the summer, we'll be having optional software packages, and we're not talking specifics about those now, but we will be talking more specifically in the summer about these, and it'll be including a 3D rendering system that Alan Hastings has been working on almost 3 years now, and we're really excited about this because it allows 24-bit output out of the Amiga, so you're getting anti-aliased 24-bit images that look like the stuff you're used to seeing on broadcast television in terms of flying logo sequences and show openings, and you can render these on your Amiga, and the interface is very, very easy to operate. We've spent a lot of time conceiving an interface that people can actually go in, somebody who's not a rocket scientist, who has an interest in creating 3D or creative visualization such as interior design or architecture, and make 3D images and put them out to tape. And also we'll be having a 2D paint system and 2D animation. The paint system is once again something that is video oriented, so we have transparency, shading, the ability to grab any frame off the toaster, video that's coming in, and then modify it or composite frames together, do airbrush in 16.8 million colors. And these will all be consumer priced products. And those will be the 2 software packages available later this summer.
Now let's go back to the studio where Dean Friedman's waiting to tell us everything that he saw about Amiga Vision.
One of the biggest surprises at Washington's MA Expo was the very first public demonstration of Commodore's own hypermedia authoring system, Amiga Vision. Designed to address the exploding area of hypermedia and multimedia applications, Amiga Vision is a graphics-based authoring system intended for use by programmers and non-programmers alike. Employing the full multitasking power of the Amiga, it enables you to control and manipulate graphics, animations, audio, video discs, and CDs, as well as the unlimited array of applications available via the AREX interface. The general reaction to Commodore's new authoring system was one of genuine excitement. Attendees who witnessed the demonstration late Sunday afternoon in the Cotillion Ballroom spoke of the program's elegant-looking interface and its superb design layout. Word is that Commodore is considering bundling Amiga Vision with its new 3000s. We can't show you Amiga Vision, but we saw it and it looks great. And we think that it marks an important event in the history of Amiga and bodes well for the future of the Amiga and Commodore.
And GVP? Well, there's a company that's become one of the most highly visible in the Amiga industry.
Okay. You may remember Greg Garnick here from our last AMI Expo that we worked at. He's here to speak again about new updates.
Thank you. Hello out there in Amiga world community. I'm pleased to announce some updates. We are excited that we're showing a 33 megahertz 68030 board, and as I was telling you earlier, what our philosophy has been is bring the technology to the public now, because if you wait for certain companies to bring the technology, I think you're going to be waiting a little too long, and as you know, people need the technology today. We're showing a 68030 based board running at 33 megahertz behind me, and we're comparing that board to Commodore's 2500/30 board. We're running considerably faster than their board, and the price performance is exceptional with the GVP product line.
What would the price be?
The list price for the unit with 4 megabytes of 32-bit memory running at 33 megahertz is listed at $29.99. SCSI controllers have been updated. They're performing much better than they did last year when I spoke to you. They're faster. They give you more capabilities. We presently have a multifunctional SCSI controller for the Amiga 2000 that enables you to expand to 8 megabytes of memory, as well as give you the SCSI controller in one board. It's an exciting product that we're showing at another table. In addition, for the Amiga 500 users out who are watching, the unit is now expandable to 4 megabytes of memory, as well as giving the user hard drive capability in our one chassis. So we're doing some exciting things, and GVP has become a leader. We've grown a great deal since you and I last spoke, and we're excited and optimistic about the future of the Amiga.
We ran into Greg again as we were leaving the expo, and he told us this news.
Last night we announced our 40 megahertz 68030 board, which is an exciting breakthrough. I mean, GVP has been instrumental in developing innovative hardware products for the Amiga, and we're just continuing that mindset.
This is Michael Hartman of Cryogenic Software, and he has a new program he'd like to talk about.
Okay, basically the program is 3D Professional. It's an object animation rendering package. It focuses more on the modeling and rendering. It does not ray trace. You don't create objects on the polygon or the vertex level. You create them as objects, and it's an object-oriented system. When you create your objects in this environment, you create them either from a group of primitives, whether they be cubes or lines or pyramids or toruses or whatever, and then you piece them together to make your more complex object. For instance, this is made up of, as you can see, a bunch of cubes, a bunch of cylinders, basically. And then you also have your more advanced creation tools like your lathe and your extrude program.
What would your target market be for this?
Okay, the professional version, there's going to be two versions. The professional version is probably going to be for the video professional who wants to do animation with a lot of frames. For instance, when you're going to video, you want thousands of frames, where on the Amiga most of the people have 32, 64 frames. So the video professional or the artist, the output formats that it supports allow you to go into a PostScript, so you bring it into PageMaker. So people who do desktop publishing will use this kind of a program.
How much would the professional?
The professional is going to go, we haven't decided on a price right now, for $400 or $500, and the personal version will probably go for about $150.
And when do you expect this to hit the market?
Professional version about 30 days. The personal version will be available maybe 30 days after that.
Let's return to Mike Halverson and find out what's happening at Impulse.
As you know, we developed Turbo Silver 3 years ago, and over the last 3 years we've had what we'll call corrective criticisms and complaints about Turbo Silver and things that it didn't do that people would like to have it done, the user. And so about 2 years ago we began to write a program that we now call Imagine that will be available May 31st, providing we don't miss our date. We've never missed anything more than 2 weeks, so that means June 15th. Realistically speaking, Imagine is difficult to explain, but to say that it incorporates many features from many pieces of software that have existed in the past. It has a tri-view window orientation, but it has very fast redraw. It has an animation editor. It has 2 editors in it. One called Forms Editor that uses a Ford Motor Company orientation for building objects. So you just sort of make slices of an object and it builds it. There's a detail editor where full Boolean math is applied, where you can basically do anything to any object that you want. You can get at any set of points. You'll be able to animate anything in the system. That is, besides just animating a leg, making it walk, you'll be able to make the leg turn into a dog, so you have morphic changes. You'll also be able to change all the colors and the attributes of that object in an animation. It has many unique techniques like ease in and ease out people want. It has an inordinate amount of control, and it's easier to use in Turbo Silver. It's faster rendering, and there are 6 different rendering modes, not just the 3 that we now support. It will support bitmaps. It will support all kinds of interesting features, new features for a software product.
Not everything was happening on the main floor at the expo. Gold Disc invited us to a closed demo.
Showmaker is a program that allows you to put together productions of lengths that are in minutes instead of seconds. What it will do is it will take the Amiga from being something where you can have little demos or animations that run for a couple seconds and you say, gee whiz, that's really pretty cool, as opposed to something where it's a real production, where you can have things like, trying to think of the best way to say this, where you can have animations strung together one right after another, text explaining what's happening, gen-lock control of fading in and out, synchronized music so that you can do animation effects and cue things in when at a musically useful spot. In other words, when the music changes, you have video changes so that things are synchronized, which gives a real professional quality to videos that you may be making. The program has a very streamlined interface and allows you to do things like storyboards, and has sort of a timeline type interface for showing events.
The Showmaker's running the whole thing. It's running live off a stock Amiga 2500. There's a video disc that's being controlled through the serial port that's running some live video behind, and you'll see the gen-lock fade that up and down again under software control. There's various animations done in different animation and titling programs that you see coming in and out at different times. The music's running through MIDI, controlled again through the serial port. A couple of MIDI keyboards. The music was originally done as a MIDI file. The difference between what you're seeing here and the other videotapes that people are using to promote computer software is I think people have become fairly numb to video, because they realize that in a studio with enough editing time and ADO effects and dollars, you can do almost anything using video, because you can just go on editing until you've spent your entire budget. With Showmaker, all that editing can be done on the computer before you ever go into the studio. We've taken desktop video, which up until now has been a series of very, very good tools for the Amiga for doing the little elements of video, animations, titling, and we've integrated them into one environment where you can get the finished product running live off the computer. Then that's when you take it to tape. I think it's going to mean significantly reduced production costs for people who are doing video, and I think it's also going to mean a much higher degree of flexibility, because now you can do editing to a degree that's far more accurate than you can even do with professional recording decks, because since it's all coming from the Amiga, you can have an animation that's playing back in frames per beat instead of frames per second. So now you're synchronized to the music. When your music speeds up, the animation speeds up.
Users groups across the country have played an important role in keeping the communication channels open between the users and the developers in the Amiga industry. We were invited to the New York users group, Amuse. Joe Lowry and Steve Jacobs conducted the meeting, where there was some troubleshooting and there were some questions being answered. People got a chance to find out what happened at the AMI Expo. There was a videotape of the animations and art that had been shown at the expo. And we got a chance to talk with Joe and Steve after the meeting.
How many members do you have?
We have a total membership of about 300. Generally around 125 come to each meeting. It varies depending on what's happening. We have two meetings a month, first and third Tuesday. The first meeting is devoted to product demonstrations, generally by major developers, previewing new products and things like that. And the second meeting is more of a tutorial on a given subject. Lou Marcoya came down and did Turbo Silver for us one time. So we get more intensive tutorials on how to use those programs you already have. Scott Mouse and I have started this series of beginning classes for new Amiga owners. That will be a series of 6 classes starting at 6:30 here at the School for Visual Arts the first and third Tuesday of each month. And what these will do will take the novice from the very beginning, opening up the box, what's in there, how do you connect it, all the way through to how you might use various applications and put them together. It's an overview.
The ADA is there to give mainly developers, but overall everyone who has a strong interest in the Amiga and its success, a voice, a unified voice, both to Commodore in terms of what developments we'd like to see there, and to the outside world. Doug Barney is one of the associate board of director holders as well, and his big keynote speech at AMI Expo was all about how he'd received this 25-page press release from Microsoft about how they were going to invent multimedia over the next 3 years with all these great tools like file formats that are interchangeable between programs and, video and animation. All these
Never been done before.
Never been done before. Microsoft's going to do it all, thank God. So the other main function of the ADA is to be a representative, responsible, professionally recognized voice to the media, that when stupid things like that happen, we say, yo, they didn't invent it, they don't have it, we got it, and we're going great.
Well, that's just some of what was at the AMI Expo, and as you can see, we have a lot more to show you. So until next time, let's stay away from that guru, even if he is green.
I am very pleased and excited about what Commodore is still doing to improve the Amiga. I saw the A3000 at the Developers Conference in Paris and the 1.4 operating system, and I can only say, because of non-disclosure agreements, that they are fantastic. It really is the next generation machine, and when combined with the new operating system, will give the Amiga a professional look and a feel, which it has lacked for a long time. Thank you very much for listening to me. I'd like to open it to questions now.